What's going on, everybody? You found Bottom Tier Collector. I'm your host, BTC, and today I got a new series, kind of something that's not new to the channel. If you've been with me for a while, this is something I've tried to do before in the past. Whether it be my trying new things series or just trying to review #1 books. Well, I've had to put a lot of that down because, you know, just life or whatever gets in the way, and I'm hoping I can restart some of that. I don't want the Mr. Miracles review series and the Wolverine series to be the only review series I do. And I think I have better branding this time. I'm just going to combine all the trying new things, stuff I would get, you know, like the stuff I would read of a character for the very first time ever. I would combine that into this series along with new comic book day pulls, along with back issue pulls. It's just a general, what am I reading? And just kind of a catch-all series. And this is everything else I'm reading that isn't the Mr. Miracle or Wolverine series review series I am doing on their own. This is going to be a new comic book day specific episode. Only one of these books is actually a technical new comic book day book, but these are all books that came out within the last let's say 2 years. Just, you know, within the last 2 years, I've kind of been winding down my purchasing. Something I've mentioned before, and I don't really want to drone on in this video, but I've went to the comic book store today to get Thundercats 1 and left with 4 books that were not Thundercats 1. I'm actually kind of mad, kind of irritated. I made this drive and didn't find the #1 priority book, you know, that I went to the store for. It's something I looked forward to as soon as I found out that Thundercats 1 was going to be a thing. Nostalgia is back, and I'm on the train for sure. I will get to Thundercats 1, but for now, let's just go over what I purchased today. And then I will do a brief description of what I read so far in this haul, and that'll be the episode. So first up, I got Tom King and Greg Smallwood's Human Target #1. Initially, because it was I was still in the hobby at the time this book came out, but I felt like my budget was already kind of maxed up for new books at the time, and then because it was Black Label, you know, I was intrigued at the thought that it was tied to the Justice League International when it first came out, but for whatever reason I blew it off. I didn't really want to fit it into my pull list, so missed out on it. And ever since the series has come to its conclusion, and I've heard people kind of talking about how good the series was, it's just kind of been gnawing at me that this was a series connected to the Justice League International, a roster that is very beloved to me, means a lot to me. And so this was probably the priority book #2 that I wanted to find today. Glad I was able to find a first print cover A. I put this in my Instagram post, but I just hear the theme song to Cowboy Bebop when I look at this cover. Now, I'd like to go over the book a little bit, what I thought about it. So it's a murder mystery, another Tom King murder mystery. I got through Rorschach right before I put the hobby down. I was able to get through Rorschach and read that to the end. This kind of is in that same vein. You know, he's Tom King's not holding my hand through this book. The pacing is weird. It's hard for me to kind of comprehend what's going on, but Tom King's really good about piecing the puzzle together gradually through a series, and at the end it kind of all comes together. That's kind of seems to be Tom King's formula, at least from what I've read in his Maxi series stuff. And his ongoing stuff, it may be different. You know, stuff that he doesn't necessarily veer off into a murder mystery about. But as far as his murder mystery stuff, this seems to be that same vibe with Rorschach. It's about Christopher Chase. I believe that's his name, Christopher Chase. He is the human target. He gets paid to be assassinated for people, and that's all I really know about him. This particular issue involves Lex Luthor and a plot involving Lex Luthor, and they've traced the poison that Chase took that was meant for Lex Luthor. They traced it back to the Justice League International. So, dun dun dun, you know, gonna see where this whole thing leads, who done it kind of thing. This is volume 5 of Human Target, so there's an established history, I would think, with Chase, but I really don't know anything about Human Target. I don't know if it's an anthology type series or if Chase has been in the series through all 5 volumes. I don't know, but here for Justice League International, I loved the art. The Greg Smallwood art isn't the conventional comic book art, but I love it. I think it's perfect for this whole vibe, this kind of 60s Sean Connery, James Bond, murder mystery kind of vibe. I'm down with it. Good stuff. Good read. Glad I picked it up. Next up, I purchased Dawn of the DCs, Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville. I don't know which issue has the Justice League International #1 homage variant, but I will be getting that because Justice League International, right? Again, another book attributed to Justice League International. If Fire and Ice had never been in Justice League International, I fully admit I probably would never even sniff at this book. But opening into the book right away, the art's kind of jarring for me. For being used to Fire and Ice in Kevin Maguire and Ty Templeton's pencils back in the 80s, it's very jarring to read this, to look at this art. Not a big fan of, who's the artist? Bustos, I guess, is the artist. I don't know their first name. It reminds me of Archie Comics. And to me, that's just not what I want to be reading in a Fire and Ice book when I'm used to Kevin Maguire and Ty Templeton and several others who were on that Justice League International run. Yeah, just that whole... It's too fun. It's too... I don't want to say pedestrian because that sounds mean. It's just too juvenile for me, the art. And then the story, some of the story, I liked some of the stuff, like there's a gag with Ambush Bug. I like to get the gag with Ambush Bug. And then I can kind of like, the plot isn't too bad. Like what occurs in Power Girl Special #1 affects our two ladies here. They're being forced to start over in Smallville. So, like, the plot doesn't bother me too bad, but the script directly bothers me. I'm used to Fire and Ice. Even here, they look like two mature women here, two empowered women. They were kind of the heartthrobs of the Justice League International in the 80s. These are women that should be in their late 20s or early to mid 30s. Based on how much time has passed, and they even referenced the Justice League. But the scripts were just very, very juvenile. It really regressed the characters, in my opinion. They made Fire out to be this angsty... She felt like an angsty teenager with an attitude problem. And then Ice felt like... what's the word I'm looking for? An introverted character, very emotional, kind of weak, doesn't really like conflict, that whole kind of thing. And that's not how I remember Fire and Ice and Justice League International, based on what I've read. So I really, really did not like the tone of this book. It's just too fun, too teenage girly. You know, I'm a 34-year-old white male. I just don't relate to two girls that are having to be forced by Superman to start over and have a nail salon in Smallville. Like, I just did not care for that at all. But, you know, again, there are parts I liked. Like, another thing that comes to mind, Fire is trying to track down these Z-list villains. So that could be a funny gag, kind of like the ambush bug thing in the story. And I hope it takes a direction for the better. I hope the book matures a little bit over the 6 issues. I think it's just a 6-issue series. I could be wrong, though. But I do plan, you know, I'm going to try and put my personal feelings aside for this book. It's connected to the JLI. I have a love for these characters, so I want to see them on the shelves. That to me is most important, is these characters getting exposed. You know, I do a lot of time complaining about how much Batman is on the shelves, and I want to put my money where my mouth is. I want to support the characters I want to see, and you know, I want to give this book a chance, and I hope, again, I see that progression in the writing and the scripts, and I definitely hope we get some major character development as I progress in this series. So I'm gonna say thumbs down on this series, but I'm not out on this book. I definitely plan. I will at least collect it for the covers. You know, if I just cannot stand the story, bare minimum. And then the last book in the haul, but not the last book I purchased, but this is the last book I've read, was Wesley Dodd's Sandman, another book I was highly anticipating coming out when I heard about it being part of DC's solicits for this new Golden Age era in the dawn of the DC. I'm so down with this dawn of the DC, by the way. I hate that I wasn't able to get in at the jump, because I was kind of there in future state. I just couldn't carry over into Dawn of the DC. But I'm catching up now. That's what this is about. Wesley Dodd Sandman. The art wasn't my favorite art style. It just kind of tonally, you know, coming out of Human Target, which isn't a conventionally, you know, traditional comic book art style. And then I had read right after that Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville. Not really in love with that Archie comic style. This is a little different from those art styles. The Wesley Dodd Sandman. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I just think the characters are drawn a little weird. I haven't been used to Jack Kirby's images of Sandman, and then whoever drew Sandman, whatever arcs I read when I was reading Crisis on Infinite Earths. I've read All-Star Comics number 3. I've read All-Star Comics number 3, and that was largely my introduction to Wesley Dodd Sandman. So not really enthused about the art, but it's something I can get over. I want to support this book again. I think it's a 6-issue miniseries. I can stay on for 6 issues at least. I like the character, you know, baby faces, to put it in wrestling terms. Baby faces are something I don't really get into, something I don't really root for. I like the more rough around the edges characters like a Lobo or a Wolverine. But I'm trying to give more characters that are baby faces, you know, a chance to win me over and kind of broaden my scope, kind of help evolve me as a reader, you know, help evolve my taste in comic books. And I've been interested in Wesley Dodd Sandman for a long time, even, you know, largely since I got into Neil Gaiman's Sandman, And having read that All-Star Comics #3 kind of fueled that fire in me, and then this book coming out was great. But to get into the book and getting off my rabbit trail here, I didn't hate the story. It's kind of a mystery thing, but it's more about just kind of the journey of Wesley Dodds. He's Sandman at night. He's Wesley Dodds at day. He's coming at. He kind of deals with the military. We don't really know a lot about Wesley Dodds. I especially don't know a whole lot about Wesley Dodds, the character and his history. It kind of seems kind of like he's part Batman, kind of part Tony Stark here. He's trying to come up with a sedative, smoke, and he's trying to turn it into a combat weapon to reduce the casualties and come up with a more humane way to have war. Seems like a contradiction, right? But that's Wesley Dodds, and that's what he believes in. And we spend a lot of this book, watching Wesley Dodds fail at his military meeting, and then he goes to this social party where he's just not wanting to be around all these people that are successful. It's kind of a reminder of Wesley and his recent failures to secure some contract or whatever, his big breakthrough with the military. And right at the end, he dons the Sandman suit and goes and kicks some butt. Goes back to what he knows, right? I thought it was a okay book. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't the coolest thing I'd ever read, but I'm into it. I'm on board, and I think I'll be here for the 6-issue ride. Definitely glad I spent some money on Wesley Dodds Sandman today. The last comic book I got, I don't think I'm going to read this tonight. I really need to be working on hitting the sack after this video. But I picked up the very hyped Ghost Machine. This will be my introduction to Geiger and Redcoat, and I don't know all these characters. This is literally the first book I've picked up of this Jeff Johns Geiger verse. Having dipped my toes into the Energon universe got me excited to see, the longer this Geiger thing has gone on, the more interested I've become. Because, full disclosure, I completely blew off all the Geiger books at first. I was kind of already in my own thing with the Sandman universe, and I was trying to expand my DC offerings in my pull list. And so it just seemed like more money, more of a burden, more things to read that I may not be able to read. And so I just kind of blew it off. But here I am. I'm trying to give it a try. I'm just kind of back and excited. So here we go. We'll see what this Ghost Machine is all about. It kind of looks like the team book for Geiger, and I guess this is Redcoat and whoever this character is in the middle. We'll just have to see about that. Hopefully that book will not fall. I'd like to also show this DC Connect magazine, cause Lobo, right? Getting ready for this House of Brainiac series. I mean, it's just like a preview thing, but I get it because it's a Lobo appearance or whatever. There's Crush there in the Power Girl book. We're getting. Oh, let me put this down on the ground so it doesn't fall. But yeah, Action Comics 1064 and Superman 13 have connecting covers, and that all feature Lobo. And that's really cool. Lobo's been in death metal. He's been in 52. So he's been in events, but I don't think Lobo's ever been part of like a inter-family of books crossover kind of thing where it just stays within a family of books. Because Lobo's just kind of his own character. You know, Lobo doesn't really belong to any family of characters in DC. And what I mean by that is the Superman family of characters, the Batman family of characters, the Wonder Woman, the Green Lantern family of characters, etc., etc. Lobo's just kind of his own thing. So it's cool that he's in this Superman family of books, House of Brainiac thing. His cloning ability has been retconned back to him. So it's cool that DC is playing around with his cloning ability again. And I'm very excited. I haven't bought the books yet, but I have compiled my pull list on DCBS. And I'm very excited to get those books in. And I'd like to cover those books in due time when they come in the mail. And I think they come in the mail in April, so that'll be nice to get those books in hand, and I won't have to worry about my cover A's and not being in the comic shop. They'll be in my hands, you know. So that'll do it for me, guys. I'm going to read Ghost Machine at some point. Might try to fall asleep to it here in a second. And then I'll talk about Ghost Machine in the future. Hopefully I can talk about Ghost Machine with another stack of books. Because that's kind of the point of this What You're Reading series. I want to go through everything I'm reading that's not, you know, Mr. Miracle and Wolverine. We will see where this goes. Another book I tried to get today, Danger Street, the #1. I saw one of the covers for Danger Street. I totally didn't. I totally disregarded that series because the synopsis didn't get me, and then the covers weren't really revealing about what could be in the story. And then I saw one cover that had like Darkseid and a couple New Gods characters on the cover, and I was like, wait a minute, I need to check out this Danger Street. So I'm a little disappointed I didn't get Danger Street today. I really want to see what Danger Street is about, and that'll have to be an eBay purchase. So that'll be another book in the future that I'll probably cover. And then I would surmise that the next episode of What You're Reading will include actual NCBD books. And that's it, guys. I'm tired. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go to sleep. And thank you guys, as always, for liking, subscribing, and watching. Till next time.